Back surprised a lot of people by going 8-5 in his first year at Coastal Carolina, but also that might speak to where this program is at. They're in a better place than I think a lot of people expected. And today we take a look at the top 10 returning players for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers in 2024. Now, I would say the hard part about this was picking the top overall player, but I really like what Matthew McDom brings to the table. Teams weren't afraid to test him last year, and he passed a ton of those tests. 26 tackles, 10 passes defended. You like to see him obviously add an interception, and I'm sure that's high on his list, but he is someone who has the ability to shut down the opposing wide receiver that he faces. Now, this secondary has plenty of talent coming back, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But Matthew McDoon is going to be the guy that leads that charge. Teams are still probably going to test him. Obviously, there's a new corner that needs to line up opposite of him. We will see who that's going to be, but this is going to be a fun group that will be exciting to watch in this defense that was, I think, good in certain areas. Defending the pass was one of them and struggled in others defending the run. I think they have the right pieces coming back to improve, and that could help them improve their record as well. Number two is going to be Zack Elim, the first team All Sun Belt selection on the offensive line, is a player that's going to have a huge role this year. You probably have a new quarterback taking over once again, and it's going to be his job to get them acclimated. Or if there's a quarterback competition, he is going to play a big role. He is going to have to get those guys up to speed and help them out with certain things and certain checks. But you have the right guy in place on that offensive line, and it's fun to see how he handles life with a new quarterback. If Jamison Tucker can get the ball more and be as efficient as he was last year, Coastal Carolina is going to have one of the most explosive passing attacks in college football. Now, this is a group that finished 39th through the air, which feels kind of weird after the Jamie Chadwell days, but Jamison Tucker is a big reason why. 20 catches for 423 yards. That's a 21.2 yards per catch average and 3 touchdowns. So explosive weapons were definitely not lacking, and that should be the case once again in 2024. You have a couple of other players that will play big roles. You bring in a guy from in Andre Jones from a lower level to help as well. So you have explosive options, guys that know how to make plays, and that's going to help the quarterback position a lot more as well. Running back position is just as loaded as those other guys and those other positions. And Bren Bennett is going to be one of the leaders of that group. 6'2", so he's one of the taller running backs that you're going to see in college football. 407 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. He is an explosive option. I wish that we could have seen him more in Jamie Chadwell's system. If you go back and watch this film, you'll see someone who was definitely capable of doing a lot of explosive things and being very good at what he does. And now he is back in what should be, once again, a very talented and deep running back room. Back to the defense up front, Will Whitson is going to be a very disruptive player for Coastal Carolina. 42 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. He is someone who knows what he's doing. He understands leverage, understands how to be explosive. You brought in a couple of FCS transfers. You brought in DeMonte Diggs, and you also brought in Najuan Barber to help him out. But he is going to get things started, and that's going to be huge for a group that is looking to defend the run better this year. Back to the secondary, Toas Fletcher is back after picking off 2 passes last year, also had 36 tackles as well. This secondary with him and McDoon and Juwan Powell, who's back at the nickel position, it's a solid group. So this is a group that could take a step forward because of the experience they have. Obviously, you have to figure out one of the safety positions as well as one of the other cornerback positions. So you could see what this group can do in terms of potential. A guy like Fletcher is back to run things on the back end. McDoom is back, Powell's back. So you feel pretty good about what this situation looks like this year. Hotler is back after a 211-yard, 2-touchdown season. Maybe not the most productive that you would want to see, but also this is a group that finished 70th running the football, which feels really weird after Jamie Chadwell days, but it's also a different offense. The rushing attack, though, has plenty of talent. Max is one of those guys that is nearly average 5 yards per carry. So he was pretty efficient when he had the football in his hands. And you just want to get him the ball a little bit more. Or if you're going to run the football, maybe you get him involved in the passing attack more. He is someone who has the talent to be effective and be a factor. And Coastal Carolina, like I said, should feel pretty good about having him on the field and being able to get the football in his hands. One of the quarterbacks that's in the running for the starting spot is Noah Kim, the Michigan State transfer who got a chance to start for the Spartans. Obviously, there was a lot going wrong for the Spartans last year. And I think at times we saw some flashes of his potential, but it became quickly evident that he was going to be finding a new home at the end of the year. Obviously, the coaching change made that happen, but this is a team that feels pretty good about having him on their roster. I feel like he'll be the starter and at least a strong candidate for the starting position. A lot of people have him pending as the starting quarterback. And when you look at the experience that he got at Michigan State, while it wasn't the greatest for him, he did learn a lot of things and should be able to process things a little bit quicker than he did in the Big Ten. The final running back we'll talk about today is Javin Simkins, 129 yards, average 6.1 yards per carry. Any of these three running backs, whether it's Bennett, whether it's Baltzahar or Simkins, are going to be interesting to watch. There's not a ton of carries to go around, I think, with this offense, but maybe there will be with the talent they have coming back. Running the football could be a little bit more of a priority potentially because of the talent they have coming back. And Simkins, like I said, 6.1 yards per carry definitely will get you noticed. And if you can do that on a more consistent basis, a more frequent basis, then you're looking at more opportunities this year. And then finally, the other quarterback that's in the running for the starting spot is Ethan Vasco. Took over when Grayson McCall went down with an injury, and you saw what he's capable of doing. 779 yards, 7 touchdowns to just one pick. Also had 368 yards on the ground with 2 more touchdowns. So Noah Kim and Ethan Vasco are going to be battling out, and part of that offense improving is who the quarterback's going to be. This is a group that was really good throwing the football, and you need to find a way to be good at that again. If the quarterback position plays itself out and you find your starting quarterback, then you feel pretty good. But right now, we're pretty uncertain about who that's going to be. And that competition probably extends into fall camp, but that's okay. You have plenty of talent to utilize. It's just a matter of which guy is going to insert themselves and take over as the starting quarterback. And how does that affect a team that, again, surprised a lot of people last year and is looking to do it again in 2024?